Hi, this is Elisa Johnston with Average Advocate, where I empower everyday, ordinary people like busy moms, weary justice seekers, everyday people who want to make a difference in the world. And I kind of help you figure out how to do that and give you a place to start and kind of help you with just everyday life stuff that keeps getting in the way of that stuff. So, if any of you guys have been following my story, recently I got put in the hospital randomly because my lungs failed and I almost died last week. So, I'm kind of in recovery and I can't breathe very well. So, this video probably won't be long, but on the other hand, I'm kind of stuck here sitting on the couch and wonderful people are watching my kids. So, I thought I would tell you a little bit today about life accounts. So, what's a life account? A life account is something that's really helpful to distinguish in your life what they are, and essentially they're kind of like priorities. So let me give you an example. So the one that I posted today in my Friday introductions is a life account that I have that is called the Freedom to Be Me of Exploration and Discovery. Okay, so that has no relevance to your life, right? I mean, I just randomly spit off a bunch of words: freedom to be me, discovery, and whatever. But the thing is that for me, that statement has a lot of meaning because I like to explore and I like to explore ideas and I like to go places and travel and road trip. I mean, you hear me talking about the kindness quest. I like to do all sorts of things that help me to look around the world and understand it and grasp it and go outside and walk around and drive and walk through, I love driving through little small towns in the middle of nowhere to try to understand their culture. I mean, and just talking with people and going places and just understanding and grasping the world. For me, that is a huge life-giving thing. Now, that's not something that's life-giving for a lot of people. They have their own kind of things. Like for some people, it might be a type of sport or a type of movement activity, or it might be something entirely different. But the thing is that most of us have somewhere between 6 to 12 what we call life accounts. And by a life account, I mean it's kind of like a huge priority to you. Like you wouldn't be you without those life accounts. So for a lot of us, it might be like the way, our faith, like our belief in God. For me, God is at the very top. It might be our family. Usually family has a lot to do with it. Sometimes it's our extended family. Sometimes it's not our extended family at all. Sometimes it's our careers. Other times it's the way that we manage our finances. For me, I'm not inspired by the idea of managing finances. That's just, not my thing. But for other people, having a life account called organization is just super life-giving for them. But for me, I know that if I don't have an account or something that's a priority, that's important, that helps me manage my finances, I just won't do it. So I have a life account that is called a life-giving home, which means for me, I care a lot about having a home that brings me life and brings my family life. So if I call it that, then I'm okay, I guess I can see how having, a clean house brings us peace, having finances in order brings us peace. And so for me, to be able to term it in those terms really helps me make it so that way I can actually live in those ways to have that account as a priority by calling it a life-giving home. So in that life mapping booklet that I have that's for free that you can download, go to my website. It should be up there multiple times, but the easiest way to find it is go under How I Help and you'll see life mapping, and then there's a little picture and you can click on it and get your own book. And I tell you how to create your own life accounts. So that's not actually the first step. The first step is, really figuring out your life themes and understanding who you want to be when it comes to the person that you are and how you want to make a difference in the world, and who you want to be, what your character is by the time you pass away or get old or whatever you foresee for your future. But the thing is that somewhere in there, it becomes evident that you have to have these life accounts or priorities. So let me tell you the difference between a priority and a life account. A priority just means that you think it's important and you're yeah, I should probably do these things. A life account is thinking of it more like a bank account. So with a bank account, you have a purpose for your bank account, right? You know that this money is to help me survive. and you know what it's to be used for, or if you have a savings account for a car, you know that this money is to be saved for a car. Or if you have a savings account for retirement, you know that this money is to help you survive in retirement. So these priorities are kind of the same way. You think, you're like, this life account that I have about my family, if I do not have this, then my investment in my family might not exist. The thing is that most of us do this kind of naturally anyways. A lot of us have quite a few of these that we proactively do. And that's how we just, we just kind of make our values around them. Like, I'm around a lot of people at church, and for them, quite a few of them, like a huge life account for them is their relationship with God and the way they interact with church, and what they value in that. And so they just kind of do it naturally because to them that's very important. But then you see a discrepancy because they're trying to get other people to join into that environment where they make that church life their community, and then those people don't have that priority in that life account, and so because of that, it's not going to happen for them because it's not of that great of importance to them unless they decide at some point it is that important for them. So it kind of happens naturally, but at the same time, it also kind of has to happen intentionally, because the things that we're not that good at, but we know that we need in our life, we really have to be intentional about creating those life accounts. The reason you create a life accounts is so that way you can kind of judge your, where you're at now versus where you're going in the future, and make 90-day goals that actually get you moving forward that way. But those are all, different parts of it. Right now, I'm just talking about life accounts. And if you are willing, I would challenge you to go either start writing down what you view as a life accounts, or go to that website, averageadvocate.com, under life mapping, or you can click on how I help and life mapping, and do the exercise that helps you determine what your life accounts are. I think personally, I have 10. Most people have, like I said, 6 to 12, and lots of times they're kind of being a little bit rewritten and changed a little bit depending on your seasons of life, and it's a way to be really intentional about it. So here's one more example of mine. I have a life account that is called Extended Family, because I have my personal family that I live life with every single day, but then also I have relationships with my extended family, and I know that if they're not in my life map, because I don't live anywhere near them, it would be very hard for me to maintain those relationships. But because I want to value those people, and I personally believe that they're placed in my life for a reason, I need to honor that. And for me to feel good about honoring that, I have to have essentially a life account that says, hey, reminder, these people exist. They have a purpose in your life, you have a purpose in their life, and this is how we're going to proceed with that. So that would be another example of them. So again, I think that I actually have a list of all mine up there if you want to see it, but the one that I was excited to share with you today is one that brings me a lot of joy, which is the creativity account of the being, just the willingness to be me in the way when it comes to discovery and exploring the world. And so I have that written out, what my purpose statement is for that account, what it looks like when I'm living it well, and then I make goals according to that account so that way I'm able to continue investing in that. And also, one more side note, when it comes to life accounts, the best way, one of the reasons we make life accounts is because they help us become the people that we were designed to be ourselves, to be more us, fully alive. But the thing is that once you create them, you can also work from there to work within each life account to make the difference that you're born to make. So for me, it's going to be a lot easier for me to make the difference that I'm born to make when it comes to the freedom and creativity to be me when it comes to discovering and exploration, because that's something that I just am driven to do anyways. So when I'm looking for ways to make a difference in the world, a lot of times I'll be looking at ways to do that in a way where I'm actually living out that account at the same time. So for example, when it comes to exploration, it might be inviting people to come with me and mentoring them as I'm hanging out with them as we're discovering and exploring the world together. Or it might be traveling or doing humanitarian missions type stuff, because that brings me so much life. Anyways, so that's a little explanation of life accounts to a small degree. Again, go to Average Advocate and download the life mapping workbook. It's free. It takes a while to do, but just start with this step. It will really help you in life, I promise. All right. If you have any questions, DM me. You know how to get a hold of me. All right. Bye.